Yeah.
I started writing it right after I turned 40. And I straight up had a midlife crisis. And I was like, here we go. I got on the train and I had my bags and I was like, we're going on the midlife crisis train. And I went on that, I went on that journey, man.
Welcome to In the Round, a podcast for people who love music and genuine conversation. Join us as we sit down with some of our favorite local, regional, and national artists to chat about life and their creative journeys. I'm Dee, I'm a musician, I'm a music lover, and I'm your host. So pull up a chair, get comfy, and enjoy. This week, meet Jordan Sellergren, musician, mother, guitarist, piano-playing publisher. We talk about her new album, her career, aging, and a whole lot more with tons of laughs along the way. And don't forget to hang on at the end to hear a clip of her song, This Love is a Dull Ache. Jordan Sellergren, welcome to In the Round.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here.
I'm glad this worked out because you're actually over in Iowa City most of the time. You came through.
I came through. I had the Little Village's roast of Des Moines last night at the station on Ingersoll. Our inaugural roast of Des Moines. I think we'll do it every year. And then I was in sales meetings all day.
I love
this morning.
Yeah.
I closed nothing. Nothing is closed.
Typical day of sales,
Yeah.
I feel like.
It's all new to me. I don't understand.
I love this.
But I do kind of like it.
We're glad you're in town, and you just played an absolutely beautiful rendition.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
It was beautiful, of Love is a Dull Ache, which is off of your latest album, Banner Year,
yes.
which congratulations
Thank
on
you
that.
so much. Thanks.
It's such a killer record. I just really enjoyed it for many, many reasons. And if folks don't know who you are, I'd love to give a little recap. In terms of your sound, this album in particular is very like piano forward, but I say piano encompassing organ and Wurlitzer. There's all this really great piano tone, which being a key player myself, I always am drawn to that anyway. It's so beautiful. And you've got this kind of, I wrote down like Fiona Apple meets Lana Del Rey, meets Maisie Starr. There's like some Sharon Van Etten in there. I feel
I'll take it all.
Oh, it's so great. You've got this like stellar vocal tone.
Oh, thank you.
There's this grit and like it's a mix of nostalgia, but then also I feel like I read somewhere you listened to like you were influenced by Dolly Parton, not necessarily on this record, but just in the past. You've got these kind of like country influences. So you have that long, lingering vibrato that, kind of carries you through.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like, I don't know, your songs in general to me have the best mix of kind of hope and despair.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that is like that's kind of how I live my daily life.
Right.
It's just walking the line between them.
I think that happens right when you're because you're the publisher of Little Village, so you're very like tuned in to Little Village magazine.
Yep.
Shout out. I feel like you're very tuned in to what's happening in the world, but also trying to tune out at the same time.
Yes. I do make an active point to, well, I don't overengage. I do not overengage. There was definitely a point in my life when I did.
Yeah.
And I think I lost my marbles a little bit, back in the, 2020 was about when I cut that off.
Yeah.
But I do have to be informed. I am aware that Kim Reynolds is not going to run for another term.
For example. Recent news in this particular
we are
moment.
Preparing her swan song for Little Village magazine.
I love that. Oh my gosh. No, this is what you actually have a great line. I wrote this down. I think it's in my favorite Sherlock Holmes, which is a song off the record. You said, ever since I turned off the news, life feels free again.
Yeah.
And I love this. It's a short little song, but you just capture kind of what we're all trying to do. Of like, we would love to just ignore everything that's going on. But at the same time, if you do that, how are you fighting the good fight, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think you have to, with anything in your life, you've got to find some balance. You've got to, you have to be aware. You have to fight. You have to strategize. But I do think that, you got to have your blinders on a little bit because they're not going to stop being
Right.
assholes.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to continue doing all that crap that they have been planning to do this whole time. You just have to be steady and strong in your core, move
Yeah.
along, do good things, try and
Right.
bring people together, you know?
Yeah. Which music does that? I mean, you
Music does
just
that.
so we're talking gosh, what is it? April. In Mission Creek Festival over in
Mhm.
I-City just happened, and you had
Yeah.
this great, it looked amazing, like 8-person band and
Yeah,
like
that was
backup singers. Ooh,
bringing
that's
people
amazing.
together. It's nice to have a
Yeah.
posse. I've done a lot of I've done
Love
a
that.
lot of solo performances, and I realized over the last couple of years I don't want to do it anymore. Things like this aside,
Sure.
but it's nice to have the support. It's
Oh,
nice to
yeah.
feel like you're coming in with a crew and that you have somebody to laugh with.
Totally. Yeah. Oh,
You
I
know?
love, yeah, my band. I feel like we're it's a family thing.
It's a
It
family
really
thing,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all, it's all relatively, it's
Mhm.
not new to me, but it is.
Mm.
The 8-piece thing is novel.
Oh, yeah, that
That's
oh.
fun. Having a group of girls to laugh with is really fun.
Oh, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. And I mean, singing when you have backup harmonies like that, like yeah, just love doing that. I love doing that myself, but also getting to play and have someone
I've never done
accompany
it.
you. Oh,
If anybody needs a backup singer, seriously, I've never done it. I think it
yeah.
would be so fun.
Mm.
It seems fun. Like there are certain, it's not like an instinctual thing with every song, but there are definitely songs where I'm like, God, I would kill that as a backup singer.
Well,
So
we're putting the call out now.
Yeah,
Jordan's available. I'm sure you have
555.
so much time between being a mom, a musician, publishing the magazine.
right. I
everything
don't
else.
actually. I don't have a lot of time. I certainly couldn't be writing right now. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could be performing. I could
Mhm.
be doing some promotional stuff, but there's the writing process for me. I don't know what it's like for you, but like I took like 2 years and went in deep, and I couldn't do that if I had a job, but it was
Right.
routine enough that I was able to like just perform it properly, I think.
Mm.
But this is all the Little Village thing is still being the owner is still new enough that I wouldn't trust myself to like be so distracted to
Right.
write a single song. To enter that headspace for like a single day,
Yeah.
because it's so consuming. It can be so consuming.
Yes. Yeah, I think I read a quote. You were talking about how writing a song is like falling in love.
That sounds like something I would say.
To quote you.
Yeah.
No, it is this feeling. What I found really interesting about that is there is that initial kind of like tumble of like, I have something here. There's that initial spark. And then what I find interesting about you talk about writing for 2 years, I'm like, oh gosh, I should probably do that more, I guess. Spending that time in that relationship essentially that you're having with that song.
Yeah.
I find that really impressive. And I think it's great that you took the time, especially if you had it or could get away with it in that moment.
Yeah.
To spend a little bit time, you bake it just a little bit longer. It gets right where you want it to be.
Well, so it kind of started just happening organically. I was like, oh, here I am. I'm in a writing mode. Oh, and then it got to a point where I was like, I applied for the Iowa Arts Council grant.
Yes.
So when I did that, I was like, okay, it's time to take this seriously. And so I took Mondays off. I actually went to 3/4 time. Not quite 4/5 time. I took Mondays off and I devoted that day to songwriting. So like sometimes on a weekend I would come up with something and then I would like complete it on Monday or like really dig into it on Monday. And then sometimes I would wake up and not have anything and like just try and see what comes out. It was the only time I've ever really done that. Like I've definitely sat down and focused on writing a song. But I had never done it with like an entire project in mind, and it was awesome. Like, and it wasn't all consuming. Like I said, I was still the art director at Little Village, and I still was a mom, and I was still making dinner, and
yada
yada.
I actually love your cooking videos
thank
frequently
you.
that
Thank
you
you.
post.
I feel like those are few and far between now. Like right now, I'm like, Sorry,
Do you
everybody.
ever worry about that where you get into, like, especially 2020, I feel like you're just home more, so you're cooking more and you were
I was
talking
like
about
making
more.
my own pasta. Like I do not do that anymore.
You're like, oh no, I set a precedent.
Yeah, sorry, no gnocchi tonight, kids. Like we're gonna have fried sausages and like oven potatoes. That's it.
Like, that's what's happening.
Like,
Go
and
back
the salad is just like I'm dumping the greens into a bowl,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then that's
Yeah.
maybe we'll get some cucumbers.
You're like, we're going scrappy tonight.
Mhm.
Like, this is a meal you can make, kids.
Also,
This is why-
children, you're old enough. You should be cooking for me.
Yeah.
Come on,
Let's make
up
that
the ante a
switch.
little bit around here.
So did your kids, did they come see you perform? Like,
Great
they love-
question. No. No, my son said he was going to go, and then he didn't go. And it's okay that I talk about it because he's not listening to this podcast. I can guarantee.
So super supportive is what I mean.
Yeah, very supportive. No, and that's okay because
Mhm.
there's this one song that is about him, and I feel like he would have been embarrassed if he was there. It's
Oh.
it's Don't Be Like Me, and it's about parenting. It's about my fears as like an unhinged teenager and young adult, and like what it could look like for him if he made similar choices. I mean, listen to the song, you'll see what I mean. I don't know if he's heard it, you know, and I'm like, I like kind of want to be like, oh, have you heard it yet?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know if he'll
You'd be
come
like,
to-
who's that about? You're like, come on, man.
That's about you.
It's about you. Isn't that funny? Okay, so and that song is on this record, and so I was thinking there was kind of a theme sort of throughout. Like, there is and there isn't on this record.
Yeah.
I feel like it's capturing like a moment in time in which you have many different feelings and emotions and things you're going through.
If there were a theme, it would be it would be midlife.
Yeah.
I started writing it right after I turned 40, and I straight up had a midlife crisis. Like, and I was like, here we go. Let's like, I got on the train, and I had my bags, and I was like, we're going on the midlife crisis train. And I went on that, I went on that journey, man.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So if there's like this overarching theme, that's what it is. I don't know if you can detect that specifically in most songs, but that's where
I feel like that's that dichotomy of hope and despair, I guess, is that I was picking up on.
Yeah.
Of like there was, I feel like some reflections on real moments, but also the what ifs, and I feel like that's maybe kind of where.
Yeah, because it's midlife. When you hit 40, you're looking. I mean, the whole thing is, I think you become your mortality and your sense of mortality and your past suddenly have equal bearing,
Right.
in a way.
Right.
And that's a weird place to be. But I didn't think of it so much like that. Like, I wasn't necessarily thinking about mortality in a like, oh shit, I only have this much time left. But I think it's just like it's like a subconscious theme.
Yeah. Oh, of course. It's intrinsic to who we are as humans.
Yeah.
But then it's like as you move through life, sometimes you are closer to it, maybe, and sometimes you're farther away. And not even in terms of aging, I feel like, just in terms of
vibe.
Just in terms of vibe. Like, what's the vibe
that mortality vibe today?
Feeling kind of dark today. Or like things that make you feel young versus things that make you feel old.
Totally. Well, and interestingly, so that was another part about this like midlife experience. I'll call it a midlife crisis. I'm trying to like dance around it. Let's just call it a midlife crisis.
I liked midlife experience. That was like
well, that's also true. But I also felt really young at times. Like I remember there were a lot of moments of like deep and serious awe and just like wonder, like and like just really like having the ability to like in real time acknowledge how amazing the life is, the opportunity to live the life in the way you want it, the beauty of the world, the like sadness, the beauty and the sadness, yada yada. And I felt there were times when I felt like just there was so much like awe and wonder in my life that I felt like I was a teenager again. So.
Did that come out of you? You are really into cycling, right? I mean, you bike all the time, and sometimes I wanted to ask you if Because a lot of times when I'm in the car on a long drive, that's when song ideas will come to me. You're listening to things and you kind of pull from that. But I was curious if you find freedom in that way, or if you're writing if you're inspired, or
Yes. And so the freedom of it all, the movement of it all is very helpful, I think. But with cycling, you also have the rhythmic way that you hit like lines in the pavement. So you're actually getting like a percussion
like
section.
Yeah, that's so true.
Too, and like the things just kind of the sounds like lend themselves to writing.
Right.
I think I've written a
the
lot
rhythm
of songs
of it itself, of pedaling and
I've written a lot of songs on my bike.
I wondered about that. Yeah,
fewer while running. Running is does not lend itself as much.
It's because you can hear yourself going.
I know, because you're just like trying not to die, Whereas cycling, you're like coasting half the time,
Right. Yeah, that's true. I feel like it gives you time to look around and kind of experience it. Can you actually like let go of the handlebars though? Are you that good, or?
Funny you ask. I bike a lot, Diana, but I do not know how to ride my bike no-handed. I occasionally will try, and I've had more success recently than usual, but no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I've gone this far in my life without busting my teeth out, like, do I really want to risk it now?
I mean, 50-50, right? You're in the middle, so it could go either way.
Every day is a what if.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's I have this like new never-ending knee pain, for example, and I've decided just kind of almost treat it like it's just a roommate or something.
Yeah,
like
just accept it.
Something we're gonna hang out. Some days is work. Like sometimes they didn't do the dishes.
You gotta
and
learn how to talk to it, how to communicate with it.
Yeah,
like what can you do to make it feel better?
Right. Yeah. And usually moving it helps. But yeah, I find I also really enjoy listening to music while exercising or doing that kind of monotonous task to a soundtrack. I think it makes it so much easier to actually move.
It can. I mean, it certainly can. It's an interesting thing for me, and I've talked to people about this before. I generally don't listen to music when I run or bike most of the time, and it is specifically because I'm like, this is an opportunity. This is when I could be writing a song. So if I'm going to listen to like Bowie, I'm not going to write anything. If I've got something on in the background. So I'll drive in silence too. I'm one of those people.
So you can hear your thoughts, right? Yeah.
I raw dog it. Yeah, I do. I'm out there listening to nothing, coming up with my own sounds all the time. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's good. I feel like I listen to music so I can't hear my inner thoughts. I'm like,
sometimes it is helpful to just tune it out.
This is Nate from Pert Near Sandstone. Don't miss the Blue Ox Music Festival taking place June 26th through the 28th in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Set among the tall trees and spacious campgrounds of the Pines Music Park, you can enjoy music from yours truly and a ton of other great bands. We've got the hottest bluegrass, roots, and Americana artists, Green Sky Bluegrass, Margot Price, Warren Haynes Band, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, among many others. There's something for everybody with an incredible variety of food vendors, family-friendly activities, music workshops, art installations, and more. Head to blueoxmusicfestival.com to see the full artist lineup and more information. We'll see you in the Pines.
So, okay, speaking of music, what do you listen to? What do you find? Because I do want to touch on, let me back up, actually. I'm asking you a question and then immediately interrupting. That's my vibe. Banner Year, like I said, it's got this great kind of loungy vibe to it, like to super generalize it.
Accelerative Thrusts, the podcast.
Yes.
Dan and Eric described it as Schmaltzy, I believe, which I loved. Even though when I looked it up, I was like, but I was like, yes, that
but it was the right word. I actually listened to that and I was like, kudos to them. There's the right word in the moment, even if it's not the right word. It is schmaltzy.
It is schmaltzy. And I think it like balances being schmaltzy and also there's depth to it. It's not just meaningless.
Right.
Obviously.
It's not top schmaltz.
I didn't go nearly insane, so I could produce something that had no meaning, but like
meaningful schmaltz.
But I think it has the air of it, which is totally fine with me. I loved that. That was my favorite word that came out of all of this.
I love getting quotes like that from people because it's so hard to be an objective listener of your own music and describe your own music. And I love when quotes like that come out.
Me too. It is really hard to describe your own music. I was like, in fact, I've been meaning to like re-listen to that and write down everything they said so I can finally put out some promotional materials.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they do a great job of describing that and going in even more into depth than I feel like we are. But yeah, just kind of piano forward, but still with tons of beautiful guitar layered in, really reverby, really really lush in that sense. But the reason I want to go back to whatever question I asked you is your previous album had this more like country noir vibe.
Yeah.
I was asking what you were listening to. I'm just curious. You have so many different influences, and I've seen this really natural evolution, you know. And I was curious if it's what you're listening to, or is it the midlife crisis?
It's the midlife crisis. No, and it was also in part my direct collaborator. So I was working with Joe Galoro, and he and I we're a Venn diagram in terms of taste. Like we do not appreciate everything the other person appreciates at all. But this was like a full-on project that we worked on from beginning to end. And a lot of the stuff that I was writing, I was writing with him in mind, like how's he going to be? It stretched me and it pushed me out of my comfort zone, I think, because I was also like considering what he would want to mix. And I was keeping that in mind. Yeah. So like writing for a collaborator, I think made it a little bit different, pushed me out a bit.
So kind of producer, did he do other things on the album?
He played bass and he mixed. And I'm sure he played like a line or two of something else, you know?
Oh, interesting. And this was the first record that you kind of had that type of partnership.
Yeah, totally.
Huh.
Like I worked, pretty closely with Randy on Sweet Bitter Tears, but really it was majority like in studio and conversation, and whereas Joe was like a direct part of the writing process.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and Joe was actually the person who recommended I come to Phil to master it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They put it through the tape machine that we have here, I think.
Rad.
And
I love it.
I
didn't ask any questions. I was like, cool, it's done. Great.
It's done. I know. I mean, I will say as an artist, once you get to that point, you're like, just get it
please
out there. I can't listen to it one more time.
Right.
Yeah. It was funny. We were sitting watching you play, and I was about to ask Phil if he'd listen to the album because it's really good. And I'm like, oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah, he's
probably listened to it
a bunch.
500 times. Yeah.
No, I was very, very pleased with how it sounded when it came out of here.
Thank you. I'll take credit.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything,
Thanks,
but I'll
Steve.
take credit. It's so much fun. That's like one thing that I love that we get to do as a studio. Sometimes we do just get to master these projects, and it's so fun to hear what's coming out. And the quality. You mentioned you actually recorded some of these songs even at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whole journey figuring that out.
Yeah, like my favorite Sherlock Holmes, that's all at home. And that's just a me and Joe song. There's nobody else that plays on it. And then like Boré was recorded at home. So Matt Berneman, the drummer on the album, recorded his drums for that at home. That was maybe one of the first ones we knocked out with home drums. And then, I think it makes, in a way, I prefer studio recording just because it seems like you don't overthink it quite as much.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Phil always joked that like the worst thing to happen out of 2020 was everyone got a home studio, myself included. And then you could do 500 takes if you wanted to, you know. But instead of like optimizing your time in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I just like, I actually really like the idea of like producing a demo and then just like making it sound as good as you possibly can and getting it the hell out the door.
Oh, yeah.
Which is more like a studio experience. But then in addition, obviously, you've got like the energy of the live performance, which is so nice. And so about half the songs were done that way and half the songs were done at home.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. It's really cohesive, though. Like sonically.
I think so.
Everything flowed really beautifully.
I think so, too.
Yeah. I thought it was great. And I want everyone to go look at the cover because it's a fantastic photo of you in what was it, like a department store, Menards?
It was
somewhere?
the Menards lighting aisle in Iowa City,
shout out to Menards. We should have them sponsor this episode just because. It's so beautiful, and there's this green carpet, and you're in this insane dress, this Renaissance.
Abigail Mansfield Coleman, shout out.
Oh my gosh,
she's a costume
so you
designer.
don't own that?
I bought it.
Oh, you did buy it.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
Well, so I rented
too good.
it. I rented it for the first shoot, which we did last February, and then she announced she was moving from Iowa City, and I was like, what's the deal with the dress? She was like, I was actually gonna see if you wanted to buy it. I was like, yes, I do. Not sure how I'm going to incorporate it into other
Oh, you gotta
areas
wear
of
it
my life.
at
I
every
don't
show
know.
now.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I
It's
mean, yeah, I
amazing.
do want to. I think I was saying before we started recording, very good chance during like the official album release, whenever that might be, could be September maybe. I'm gonna wear that damn dress.
Oh, totally.
I got to.
Yeah, YOLO, man.
I gotta wear
like
it.
you gotta do it. I love the idea. You know, and something actually that the other podcast mentioned is how theatrical
Yeah.
this album sounds, and in that sense, I love the
Weird
idea
and
of like a
theatrical.
yes,
I was like, yes.
which is so true. There's
Right.
like I hear like a hint of psychedelic. I hear a hint of like almost old world, like 60s classic kind of piano
Sure.
pop. It's just a really great blend of sounds, but I love the idea that you would have a visual element as kind of theatrical
Yeah.
as some of it sounds, you know,
Yeah.
with that dress, because it's pretty amazing.
It's an amazing. It's really, really fun to wear, and it's really fun to wear it inside of a Menards.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
I had staked out like several different locations within the store, including the lumberyard, which is very it's like a castle. It's like the inner courtyard of a castle. That's the vibe. So I will be going back there at some point. Maybe for the Leftovers album.
I love this.
But basically we went in there, we went straight to the lighting aisle, and we walked out when we were finished, because it was like, this is exactly what needs to happen.
It's so great.
That
Well,
was
yeah.
It was my first album where I actually did like a me shoot. The first album, Milk and Eggs, was just graphic design.
Yeah.
It was just art or whatever.
Mhm.
And somebody was like, you should put a picture of you on your music. And I was like, I don't know.
Nah. Well, yeah, and then Sweet Bitter Tears. I love that cover. It's a really great kind of collage-y photo of you.
It's a collage. And the funny thing about collage, and I know this as an art director, is that collage is often used when you lack certain resources, you know? So like it's like a last ditch effort to like get something out of, you know, almost nothing. So that was like a selfie I had taken on my iMac.
Oh, wow.
That was like very grainy. Like if you look at it, it's a really low quality image.
Meaning it's perfect for an album.
Meaning it's just right for a
Yes.
12-inch record.
Then it looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
And
now
so this
people
one
pay for those filters, you know, like people, I mean, those filters, you can't get that filter.
You make it work, and that's okay sometimes. But this one, I did want to make it special. I felt like this one, the fact that I wrote every song for this record meant to me that like this needs to be treated as a whole thing. It needs to be taken seriously as a complete thing.
And then that led you to a Renaissance dress in the lighting all Menards, of course.
exactly
Very
right.
serious. We're very well. Actually, what I want to ask you about that was, do you feel sometimes like you're a woman out of time, or was it just kind of coincidental that you had access to this crazy cool dress, or do you kind of sometimes feel like you're in the wrong era, and you know, not that who wants to go back to those times though? I will say.
I feel like I'd like to skip ahead.
Yeah. That's actually, I was like, I'm saying this knowing the answer in the sense that, of course not.
I'm trying to imagine like what era, if any, I would go back to. Obviously, you've got your shortcomings during each decade that we've had.
Oh, absolutely.
I would never want to sleep with a stinky middle-aged man.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? That sounds really gross.
As a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. And I want to brush my teeth every day. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. We do.
What
love
was I thinking
toothpaste.
about recently? How I mean, sometimes you just like ponder how smelly people were.
Oh, yeah. There's so many moments when you see just the amount of layers that they're wearing at any given time. You're like. And how they didn't wash it often. Like how few times.
No, they did not. They didn't even have the ineffective natural deodorant
Yeah,
that I wear every day. You know what I mean? They had nothing.
I just loved, again, the visual of it. And I feel like I'm doing that thing where, you know, when you create something and then someone sees way more depth into it than you meant.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of a great moment of that, of like, we're living, like to us, this feels like a cycle that's already happened. Like, haven't we already done this? Haven't we already been through all of this?
Yeah.
Like,
it does feel like it's kind of on repeat. All this feels very familiar. What's happening now politically in the world. It's funny, like Elon Musk I'm like, surely we have met before. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but
Yeah.
months ago, I remember being like, I can't imagine that anybody could be worse than Trump. And then I was like,
Oh,
oh
you're
God,
like, what
this
about-
guy. But it does feel like he's some villain that we have known before. And we have.
Yeah.
He's been around for a while. He's just not
Right.
had any like real power.
You're like, did I punch you in my past life, or do I
Right.
still get the pleasure of doing that in this life?
Right. Can we skip ahead to that part?
It does. Well, it's kind of like living in a movie. I feel like sometimes
yeah.
of, you know,
A
you're
really
like, are you
dumb
They're doing
movie.
everything but the hand movement, you know,
Yeah.
of like, so yeah, I'm not sure. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just trying to keep our head above water and make art and make it
Mhm.
not feel. I don't know if you've been struggling with this, but sometimes making music, it's the thing I love to do most, but at the same time I'm like, am I doing anything? Should I be
feels
out
very
there
futile.
making calls? Yeah, like it feels futile sometimes, and it's like it does matter, and it does create community. That's something we talk about here a lot.
Yeah.
I just had a show last week where it just, if anything, it was good for my heart to
Yeah.
be around fellow people,
Fellow people.
people of fellow like-minded fellows.
A fellowship
I
of
thought
sorts.
you're
This
getting
is-
me into my Renaissance speak. Yeah, the family. I mean, it was with Joel Sires and
Yes.
River, who are like,
Well, hanging out with Joel is
Yeah.
just so fun.
Yeah.
He's the
yeah,
most
you
fun.
guys have played several shows together.
we have,
and-
and
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
if there were a contest for best banter in Iowa,
Oh, absolutely.
easy
But, like,
winner,
hands
easy,
down.
very,
That should be
very
the
fun,
new
very charming.
Iowa State Fair. Like, forget the husband calling thing. Move over to
Yeah.
banter.
Well, Little
Yeah.
Village used to do a best of. Maybe we'll just do
Oh,
one
add it.
question a year or something. I don't know.
I love this idea. But yeah, I feel like that's actually why I love, you know, what you do with Little Village and everything that the coverage wise that you guys focus on. A lot of arts, a lot of culture, a lot of things that I feel like are being attacked and defunded right now. And so
I mean, I think that like there's going to be things that just certain groups of people will not ever agree on.
Mm.
And you just like art and beauty and the experience of like a theatrical performance or an art exhibition or
yeah.
live music. Again, there's not always going to be overlap with different groups of people, but like it does, I think, help people relate to each other in ways that they wouldn't otherwise. And so my ethos kind of with Little Village, like we do community coverage and we do legislative coverage, and that's all very important. But just going hard on the arts.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's beauty. That's like everybody can participate in it. It's commentary, it's feelings, it's like
Yeah.
therapy, you
It's
know.
it's 1,000%
It's also
therapy.
important. So I feel like, you know, in Iowa we're very divided. Or they're winning. Actually, they're just winning.
They're pulling ahead.
Yeah, they're pulling ahead pretty. But
Pick
the
your
arts,
they, everybody. Pick your they.
the arts can push back. You know, you can be strong
Yeah.
and steady
Yeah.
and just keep making art. But another thing that I want to do at Little Village and that we've implemented is more arts reviews. So like sending people out to like write about what they're experiencing in a way that like isn't fluffy, you know, like give us something to chew on. What did you
Yeah.
actually experience? Did you like all aspects of it? And if you didn't like all aspects of what didn't land, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, what didn't land and why? Because I mean, that's the beauty about art, is it is so subjective.
Yeah.
I always joke, I should know the name. I'm failing right now, but there's that famous painting that's just blue, and I'm like, how do you know when just blue is good, or just the red dot? You know, I just got the pleasure of going to MoMA like not that long ago actually, and it to me, I was like, oh, it's just if it makes me feel something. It's
Yeah.
not even at that point. It's almost like beyond the artist. It's sometimes in that moment you need the blue or
Sometimes
whatever.
you do.
it may be.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
things hit different at different times.
Right.
But I think that like by being able to speak honestly about it and not just like I don't know, not just be really nice and kind all the time.
Sure.
Then we could
Yeah.
actually help we could elevate our arts communities here in
Yeah.
Iowa. Like, let's do better. After my Mission Creek show, a friend of mine, I was like, I reached out to a friend who doesn't bullshit. I was like, what would you do? And she's like, well, I would take voice lessons, actually. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. But she's.
All right, Susan, get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, click. But she's right. Okay. She's right. I know it.
I mean, we could
B,
all use, maintenance.
everybody could use lessons. Everybody could improve.
Yes.
But also, like, as somebody who's worked on a team of editors who have like edited out my dumb jokes or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you need people to witness and listen and see what you're doing and then provide feedback so that you can change it. Otherwise, you're just in a vacuum.
Or what I love, especially the opportunity of working here and getting to work with video creation in these different aspects, it's actually really great. I think our team does a good job of like some things conceding, but other things redefending the point of like redefending a choice that you make, which I think is really important language either way.
Yeah.
It's healthy to have nice ways to accept criticism. That's so hard. Like, that's unbelievably
really
difficult for
though.
most people. Having a way to exercise that muscle, like in a safe environment, is rare. And so I like that. But then I also like seeing people go like, no, I made this choice and this is why.
Yep. Convince me.
And
know why.
Right. And know why. Exactly. You
don't have to know. I'm not of the mind that like, and I was kind of brought up in art school to believe that like, art should be made intentionally from the beginning. And I don't necessarily, like, sometimes it reveals things that you did not realize you intended.
True.
And so I don't think you always have to understand exactly what the purpose is behind it from the beginning. But like, you should do your best to understand what you're doing, and be able to explain why it's of value. It's a good exercise for everybody.
Right. How it affected you. And that's kind of what I like about art and sharing and giving people a way to talk about things. I feel like music does that really well. A lot of times you're like, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, the part that gives me chills.
Movie. Yeah,
like, let's listen again.
Like it's that line, or it's the way they say something, or it's the photograph. It's whatever it is. But yeah, that's why I think it's so important, especially when you talk about divided, like can't communicate. Like a lot of times it's like, you know what? Maybe watch this movie with me.
Totally. I think film is like a really, really good way to transport yourself from the life you know to somebody else's life. That's probably the most effective form of like experiencing empathy through art, I think.
Yes.
Right. Film, 2 hours. You walk out a different person, know, and I'm not like a huge film buff, but I really do think it's very effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had something, and I can't remember what I was going to say, but yeah, I art, good old art.
To sum up, art. Do it. Listen to it. Whatever. No, something. My husband and I have been watching White Lotus, which
I
along
haven't
with
watched
the rest of the
season
world.
3.
Okay,
but somebody did tell me what happened at the end last night.
Rude.
Oh, I know. I said they could.
Oh, okay. Well, don't tell me.
I won't.
I will throw my shoe at you.
Okay.
No, but it's an example to me of the music in that show is absolutely the star, because if you take out the music, it would just be people like kind of awkwardly talking to each other, but throughout in every season's this
and
way.
It's unsettling. And I've heard that some people were unhappy when they revealed the season 3 theme song.
I mean, the theme song is a whole other bag, because
So
it was kind of like, just in general throughout the episodes. To me, there's moments, and maybe when you watch it, you should let me know. But no, the theme song.
Somebody's got to send me their HBO password. In order for me, it doesn't have to be you. Somebody else.
No.
Whoever's
Listeners, in a month you're gonna get like 8 passwords.
JSellergren@gmail.com. Just send it on over. Because I bought a Criterion Collection annual subscription, after which several people were like, why not just get Canopy? It's free. And I was like, let me just do my thing. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't have any other streaming services, and I don't want them. I just want your HBO password.
Just that one. Good on you. I bet you read books and stuff.
I do, so cool. Slowly, but I do. Slowly but surely. So with art, it's also a good exercise to be able to recognize that like your opinion is not the end of the story.
Yes.
You know, you can really love something and somebody else could think that it sucks, but hopefully that other person can appreciate why you love it.
Right.
And that the experience of God, I need another word, experiencing art in from different, with different tastes.
Like ingesting it. Yeah.
It gives, I think it gives you
yourself,
more empathy.
Yes.
And that ultimately, like, that's going to be good. That will help us, right? Won't that help us in our society?
I would think so.
If you can like at least relate to why somebody might think this way as opposed to the way you think. I don't know.
Or know why you don't. Like, I think so much of it is reflection of why can't I wrap my head around this person's choice?
Yeah.
And then taking a moment to live with that and process that.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like that's something that art and music does, but people tend to shy away from that because it's it's making me feel the icky feelings.
Yeah,
I don't want to feel
people can be real dicks about it, I mean,
Totally.
people can be like, that sucks, and that's it.
Right.
Well, tell me why it sucks, okay?
Yes.
Tell me why.
I feel like that's a skill we're losing because it's so easy to go online or whatever and just say thumbs down. Like, it's just so easy to do that.
Yeah, we should all practice a little bit more objectivity and refined critique and how to and taking criticism.
Yeah. I'm like on that journey. That's going to be my midlife crisis. I'm on a big criticism boat. Not that I get constantly criticized, but performing and, again, being in that world, you kind of tend to.
Well, it's a very vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do it sometimes.
Right?
I know why I write it. I know why I record it. And I know why I release it. But why I perform it, I don't know.
Because it's another stretch. It's another, going outside your comfort zone,
yes.
which actually feels good. It's that dopamine hit. It's that, but
totally.
and then later you're like, oh my God, why?
I wonder if by the time this airs, if I will have booked any other shows because I didn't book anything else. I released this album and I was like, well, I'll do Mission Creek. And we worked so hard at it. And then I was like, I was too busy with work. I didn't book anything else. I hope that I have some more. We worked really hard on this thing, so I should be like.
No, and it's also okay, I think, to give yourself a moment of like, okay, it's out there and I want to get some feedback and see how people feel about it.
Totally.
I mean, and it's beautiful and I just can't recommend it enough. It's a great record to listen to. So
no, but it is, I think it is, there's something to be said for that. Just like, okay, this is where we're at. And then eventually we will play the set again a few times, I hope. And then, but in between now and then, like what will happen? What choices will be made? Maybe they'll be of value.
Yeah.
And there'll be a good reason for it. Not just the fact that I am lazy.
It's not laziness. It's also you put in. I mean, you wrote for 2 years. Like, give yourself a little
maybe
slack,
it's the fact
right?
that I didn't hire a professional person to do this work for me, which I probably should have. I should have hired a press person.
Yeah, you're doing it, and we talk about that a lot of like the life of the indie musician and what that actually means.
Yeah.
And I know you talked in other interviews and stuff about like, good thing I'm a graphic designer and do PR and like good thing you have all those skills because you have had to do all of that yourself.
Unfortunately, I don't feel right taking out a full page ad for my own, in Little Village, which I do think would be incredibly effective.
Yeah, right.
So, but I'm not going to do that.
Letter from the editor. Go listen to my album.
I can't do that. We're not reviewing it either.
Right. Yeah, gotta keep a little church and state there. Not that anyone else is.
Yes,
but,
exactly. But I will. I'll maintain church and state.
It's your own integrity. It's your own integrity. Well, so we look back a little bit, but looking ahead, are you taking a moment to just let this project breathe? And
I'm ready to record again.
I wondered. I was like, I'm picking up on that vibe a little bit. But,
I do have this. I have a vision for the next thing, but it's because this whole project was written so intentionally as like a whole, and then there were inevitably songs that didn't make it onto the album.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And those haven't even been revisited for months and months and months, and occasionally I'll like have one in my head and I want to do an album.
That's great. You've been bitten by the bug. Also, though,
I just want to finish it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I want them to come out in tandem, you know,
Right.
like twins, but one is taking longer.
Love it. They just go, just hang out in here.
I don't know. I've never
No,
had
that
twins.
was
I just had one.
my grandma. She had 11 children,
Oh.
2 sets of twins. And I
Oh.
think both times they were like, oh, just hang out here. And
Just
she's
relax.
like, what? What? That's all you got, Doc? Okay. I mean, she absolutely did not react that way, but I like to think that she
How
did.
long? Do you know how long the span was between one?
Oh,
twin
I
and
don't,
another?
like
What
probably
should I
just
shoot
a few
for here?
minutes.
Oh,
But,
okay.
you know, it was like you never knew until the end, you know, back in, you know, 50s.
Oh, that
so.
you were having a second
Yeah.
child at the same time.
I mean, you wouldn't have known until.
well, I know that I'm going to, but it's probably going to be an EP. So,
Right, exactly.
and
No,
I don't
that's
think I'll
great.
do a record.
Mm.
But I do want to. I want it to be. I want it to come out and still feel like it's connected to this album because I think it completes the story, but in this like B-sides way. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's a little sister, the B-sides,
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well, and as you know, like people kind of expect, I feel like, content all the time.
yeah.
And so
They're not going
something
to get that, but
No, but
some-
having a follow-up and having like you don't need to do a whole album. I've been trying to let this sink in because we love, like my band, we love doing full-length albums,
yeah.
but there's also it's just hard to do that.
Singles are fun.
Singles are great, you know. and
Singles
that's-
don't cost $3,000, $4,000 to
Yeah,
press records. You know?
Exactly. So there's kind of I think it's fun to play with the format.
It
like
is.
you don't
And when you're
Yeah.
ready to do like a body of work as one whole, do it. That's
Then
when
do
you're.
it.
That's when you do that.
the songs are there.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
It's fun. I mean, I do love the planning process.
Yeah.
As like I like have broad, big visions,
Mm.
and I like to plan.
Just an even bigger dress, like several more
Yes.
petticoats.
Well, did you see Gaga at Coachella?
No, oh my god.
She
I'm
was on
embarrassed
top.
that
It was like on top of a dress that had like a birdcage skirt, and then within the skirt there was like dancers, like in a
Oh
cage, like cage
my
dancers,
gosh.
and her tiny body, like torso, was on top. I was like,
I love that.
that can't be my dress because she just did that.
She just
but
did it.
That
Dang
would be
it.
the
That
natural
would be-
direction, you know.
That would be it. I need to watch that. That just
I
happened
just saw a
and I
couple
missed
pictures, maybe a little video.
it.
It was. She's I never listened to her music really,
Mm.
but I deeply appreciate her artistry.
Yeah, me too. No, absolutely.
Mhm.
Actually, that's a good Gaga versus Taylor Swift. Not that they're comparable, but
Not
you know.
a Swifter. I'm not
Yeah.
a Swiftie. Not.
This is why we're friends, Jordan.
You're not either.
I'm causing.
Oh, should
we're
we
gonna
have been
cause some
talking about this the
waves.
whole
Oh
time?
yeah, we're gonna be. Yeah. Okay, I should say I haven't listened to enough Taylor to have like a true dialogue about it.
All I want to say is
my Gaga.
the poets, whatever the
Dead Poets Society. No,
Dead
what is
Poets
it?
Society,
It's
whatever
some-
that album was. It looked like an ad for IBS treatment. That's my big Taylor diss. Okay. She's
my
like
God.
clutching her gut. I'm like, we've all
Oh,
got it, sister.
I-
Like, you know.
I just can't wait to see the hateful comments that we get for this, but that's hilarious because it reminds me SNL
Look.
just did a skit about like if you're doing activities like biking in slow motion, you probably have like a disease.
Yeah.
That's what this is making me
Reduce
think.
your dairy intake. I don't know what
Yeah.
to tell you.
Gosh, it's a message for everyone out
No,
there.
I don't like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I can't stand the sound of most of her songs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be. Now it's all coming out.
Don't
It's like,
apologize to me. Apologize to that. The
It-
world. No, I'm just
Brooke,
kidding.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry if you.
No.
I-
We're very pro, like her success. I love her attitude. I love she has cats. I'm very very.
Oh, I didn't
pro
know
all
she was
of
a cat
that.
person.
She is a cat
Okay,
person.
well, we like that.
Yes.
I'm not interested in the amount of production waste that happens with like really big corporate stars.
Right.
Those records, I have a feeling they're not all being listened to, or
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
there's
there's
a
something-
lot. The Onion did a really good, or somebody did a really good thing the other day about how Record Store Day was just like 45 different reissues of
Oh, yeah.
the Dead Poets
Of-
Society
yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
that.
Right. Jeez, I'm failing. I cannot remember for the life of me. That's okay. Yeah, that did happen. Sadly,
Irritable
I think,
Poets
but
Society.
let's just only wrong answers. I don't want to get it right at this point. Just fine. No, I realized too that I never actually let you answer what you do listen to. Like, is there a record that you're just spinning nonstop
I forgot
right now?
everything.
No, it's my fault.
No, I'm trying to think like what's something that because I do that terrible thing where I let Spotify choose and I feel
Well,
like
yeah.
a wretched.
We're all at the,
I've been doing like I listened to Chopin on the way here. Some good like
classical music girly.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I love a piano sonata.
Yes, this is true.
God,
Like not just the Moonlight one, but all the other ones too.
all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Or what's your
Moonlight.
go-to record? What's your comfort record? Like, put it on.
It is. I seriously feel like when you ask this question, a drain is twisted, and all of the ideas that I've ever had go into a drain. Can I just?
I also relate to that.
I want to like look at my fucking Spotify.
Yeah, we should. We're beholden to the algorithm.
Oh my
No, it's
God.
okay. It's fine. I'll give you one. Deep Sea Diver just put out a new record. That's really good.
Is it good?
Yeah, and it's in a vibe that I think you would enjoy.
I've been listening to Dirty Projectors. There's because I'm really enjoying the harmonies quite a bit.
Ah, yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, I only want to name projects that have women in them. But I do also feel like I have a very natural tendency, or Spotify has a very natural tendency to serve me with man artists.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, that's something we talk about frequently.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. The balances, because there's things where I'm like, this is such a bop, but also I need an influx of something else. Like I need some other color, some other flavor going on. Yeah.
No, there's so much. I mean, I listen to shit all the time, and sometimes I'm deeply listening, and sometimes I'm not, and I could probably be a better deep listener.
I love the breadth of, classical. I actually hear that to me in your music. I hear that you actively listen to classical music.
I do I would say that when I listen to music the most, it's at work, and I try and provide some like non-controversial entertainment for my staff as well, coming from my office. You get your Thelonious Monk and your Chopin and your Bach.
Nothing but the hits.
Nothing but the hits.
And by hits, I mean orchestra hits.
I feel like I get a lot of magnetic fields coming through my algorithm. And frankly, I'm getting tired, but I'm like, you get to the point where you're just like, I can't listen to the song anymore. Because
it's an ebb and flow
thing.
Like that's a band that I love, but I haven't listened to in years because I listened to them
the
too
English.
much. Oh wow,
they were there a couple years ago, and I saw them.
Okay,
and it was a wonderful show. They're touring 69 Love Songs this year.
Oh wow. Oh God, isn't that crazy? All the kind of like reunion tours, essentially.
Totally.
Like
and I do feel like I listen to a lot of reunion tour albums, like they're like new releases, like the Kim Deal album that came out I think last year. I've been enjoying that. But then I do. I listen to old Stereolab and old Yo La Tango a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a real sucker for the Beatles and the Stones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff, but a lot of the information that I would like to tell you is completely drained from my consciousness. Yeah.
Ah, that's perfect. This is why we're friends. This is my daily life as well. Jordan, you are just so incredibly delightful to talk to, and I feel like I could do it all afternoon, and I can't. But I just want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for your album because it's just really delightful.
Thank you.
That's not even the best word to describe it, but I just really enjoyed spending time with it, and it's lush and interesting, and again has echoes of old and new, and it's very you to me, and I appreciate you sharing you with the world.
Well, it really means a lot coming from you. I really appreciate it quite a bit. So thanks for giving it a listen. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure. We're gonna play a clip of Love is a Dull Ache, and gosh, thanks for being here, Jordan.
Totally. Yeah.
See you soon.
All right, thank you.
Like petals released by the wind from a flowering tree, you've hurt me. This life in me, it doesn't understand the way that everybody says it's supposed to be.
In the Round is produced and recorded at Trilix Studio. Remember to subscribe to In the Round wherever podcasts are found.